Hey everybody, Mike here, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be reacting to the IGN uploaded trailer for I Am Jesus Christ. And I'm just going to give my thoughts on it, and I think I have a couple of interesting things to say. You're going to want to stay to the end. Recently, this trailer, it amassed over 5.6 million views on IGN. And first of all, I think it's interesting that IGN even uploaded this. They're very much just a mainstream video game. Well, you guys know who IGN is. Anyway, but I think it's very awesome that they did. I have some thoughts on the trailer and then some thoughts afterwards on how the trailer can be interpreted. So let's get right into it, shall we? And I'm learning how to balance my audio and how to do the screen share. So have a little grace on me, would you? Let's take a look. Okay. That's pretty cool. Okay. Interesting. Okay. All right. Let me turn off this screen capture. Actually, we're going to leave it up. I have a few more things to say regarding it. But yeah, let's talk about this, shall we? I have some notes here on things I want to say regarding it. Overall, I think that the trailer was fairly well done. I don't think it was great. I'm not super familiar with Simula M, the developer. However, I do know that they seem to have some pretty good animators on their team. I think that based on the initial trailer that we have here, I haven't played the game for myself. Maybe I'll do a follow-up reaction with that if you guys are interested. However, I think that some of the directing could have been done better. I don't feel like based on the trailer alone, I'll point this way because the screen share, the reactions of the NPCs, the non-playable characters, I don't believe that they were really kind of like, whoa, like this and that. It just seemed like a very like mediocre reaction to the miracles. I do think that we're not seeing the whole picture in the trailer. I'll get to that in a minute. I pulled up the Steam page, and some of the screenshots for the game look a lot more interesting than the trailer did. However, let's talk about the elephant in the room for a second, okay? This idea of playing as Jesus, okay? Do I have a problem with this? No, not necessarily, and I'll discuss that here in a second. But before I do, I wanted to go over some of the comments I saw in the comment section here. Let me try to pull up the comments. Where are they anyway? They move them? Okay. Looks like it's loading up the mobile version of the site. Here they go. So some of the comments here are pretty interesting. Some of them seem a little bit like goofy, right? Like obviously these are not Christians writing some of these things, and that's okay. It is what it is. This is IGN. It's not like it's a Christian platform that's been uploaded on. I do like some of the comments though. Someone's like, I can't find it right now, but basically they said, "Is this pray to win?" And I thought that was extremely clever. You know, I think God has a sense of humor, and as a Christian, I'm confused. As a gamer, I'm so confused. Okay. So, you can come and find some of these other comments for yourself, but I thought they were kind of fun to browse through, and I think you might enjoy so as well. Now, this idea of playing as Jesus, do I find it to be a problem? I don't. I don't think it's an effective tool for delivering the gospel. Seeing who Jesus was and seeing him as an actual person, I believe now more than ever that that could be quite effective. We do see by faith and not by sight. However, after watching The Chosen recently, some of the scenes in there when he did the miracles brought me to tears a little bit, not gonna lie. It was pretty impactful, especially for those who think of Jesus only in spirit and think of him more so as just this idea, this concept, and just seeing him as a real person, I think, has power. Now, why do I feel like this is not an effective tool for ministry? Well, I don't necessarily. I want to clarify. I think that this is more so art from the church, or excuse me, art for the church, and I think it's from the church, and it's being made for believers, right? It could very well be for non-believers as well. I don't really believe that a lot of non-believers would pick this game up. Um, and I do believe that the directing of the trailer, it seemed a little bit cheesy in some regards. I think it was very well animated, as I said before, but I don't believe that it was really realistic. I know that the outlines of the boat and such were meant for a user experience design to make sure that it is a game after all. But I think that seeing the outline on the boat on the water, like the water scene was impactful. I thought that was powerful looking. The rain, the storm, Jesus walking on water. I think that was amazing. I think it was ruined by the outline. Maybe if there's a setting to turn those kinds of things off. However, I just don't think that, you know, it seems emotionally impactful. It's visually impactful, that's for certain, but emotionally impactful in the way that something like The Chosen was. You very well may be going from city to city as Jesus. They're showing us the miracles in the trailer. I don't think that, until I play it, and I promise to play it and give you my thoughts, I don't think that we're seeing a lot of the buildup of the relationships of the disciples or of the people who have these problems before Jesus helps them. I think that that is what makes it more impactful when you see the miracles. And that seems to be missing in the trailer. Let's move on, though. So, those are my thoughts on the game. I'm looking at my notes here, so forgive me. Um, yeah. So, interpretation of this trailer. What is this trailer trying to achieve? I do think they're trying to empower Christian creators to. I don't know if they have a heart for ministry, like outreach outside of the church, but I don't think it would be impactful for that. And this idea, let's talk about this idea of Jesus having this prayer power, okay? This ability to restore prayer power through prayer. There's a lot of controversy in the comments. There are a lot of people, excuse me, who are upset about this, saying that this feels like, God is limited or Jesus is limited when in fact he was not, is what they're saying. But I'd like to take a more controversial and more direct approach to this. I don't have a problem with the prayer power for a few reasons. Number one, you need some sort of indicator in the game to make it interesting. I don't think that there's a problem with that whatsoever. However, this idea of Jesus having to restore power, I think that's biblical because if you see several times in the Bible, he went away to pray, to restore his strength and to clear his head so that he could do the will of the Father. This seems completely normal to me. If you watch The Chosen, he also, closed his eyes, he looked up and he asked God to do things, and then he did them through that power. But he certainly seemed as though he needed to gather the mental capacity to do so, and I don't really see a problem with this. And this is probably a very good thing as well, right? When we are seeing that we're supposed to have this lifestyle of prayer and of seeking God and of reaching out to him, reaching beyond ourselves to restore our strength and to renew our mind. I think this is a good way to minister to believers in that regard, and I think we should all take note of this. Now, let's move on to my next point here. Jesus was fully a man as well as being fully God, and I don't say 100% man and 100% God because there's only 100% in a pie, right, in a pie chart, or any percentage. If someone says there's more than 100%, it's not really logical. So we say that Jesus was fully God and fully man because he wasn't lacking in either respect. He certainly was a man, and he needed to get away and pray and restore his focus on the Father. So, I think that this depiction of Jesus, I'm not the type of person to say that Jesus has to look a certain way, but I don't think he was this white guy. I certainly think he was more Middle Eastern, olive skin, curly hair. The Chosen on TV depicts this a lot better, and I think we need to get away from this idea of Jesus just being this white dude with long hair. It doesn't seem accurate. I know that I don't believe I'm familiar with this, the origin of this, but the Catholic Church, I believe, the depiction of Jesus, whoever created that, I don't know that they had the best of intentions or that they were biased or whatever was going on there. But certainly something was happening there. Let's see here. I'm not sure how much research the developers did. I'll do a follow up video on the developer and tell you my thoughts on them. But I just want to point to this fact again that the weight of the miracles, it seemed absent. Like, who cares if you go around and fill a bucket full of fish and a guy just slightly smiles at you? I want to feel the buildup of that. I want to feel the story and why this was impactful. And it seems like a lot of the characters probably won't have much dialogue. And certainly, I don't think Jesus will have any if he's a first person character, kind of like Zelda. Not talking, just being kind of a mute protagonist, even though Zelda was third person. Well, I'd like to see where that goes, and we'll see how that works out. But I'm gonna take a dive in and purchase the game soon to give you my thoughts. Now, I think that this idea of seeing Jesus on screen, I think that there is power in that as well. My girlfriend Kristen, she doesn't like this idea of conceptualizing Jesus. She wants to see him, hear his voice. And I said, baby, that's not necessary, right? And she's like, yeah, but I still want to. And I think that a tool like this could be effective in empowering new believers, but I don't think it's really necessary. Um, I think that, I don't know. It's hard to say, right? Because I think that this certainly isn't art from the church for the world, in my opinion. So those are my thoughts on the trailer. Let me see. I'm going to take you on a small journey here through their Steam page. And I also wanted to point out one last thing before we look at the Steam page. It says here, whoever is not against us is for us. Mark 9:38 through 41. Teacher, said John, we saw someone driving out demons in your name, and we told him to stop because he was not one of us. And Jesus said to him, do not stop him, for no one who does a miracle in my name can in the next moment say anything bad about me. For whoever is not against us is for us. Truly I tell you, anyone who gives you a cup of water in my name because you belong to the Messiah will certainly not lose their reward. I don't think that it's blasphemous. I want to make that absolutely clear. I don't think that this game is blasphemous in any regard. If you even look up the term blasphemous, it doesn't even have anything to do with this idea of depicting Jesus visually. I don't think that it's a bad thing that this was made. I think it's a very good thing. Is it my style? It's not. It's not something I'm super interested in. I'll play it. I'll get my thoughts. The Chosen TV show, the only thing I can truly compare it to, because it's a visual medium that depicts Jesus, I think that was so well done and I was so sucked in. And if the developers, Simula M, I think they're called, are able to kind of pull this off, I think they'll have a hit on their hands. But I don't think in its current state that it is that. I think it's very pretty and well animated, as said before. I won't keep hammering that home, but let's take a look at some of these screenshots, shall we? So we're seeing some really, really, really well done environmental screenshots, some very well done characters. I very much get the whole Nancy Drew / Hardy Boys vibe from the PC games back in the day. And beautiful scenery. Some pretty well done facial animations and such. Period accurate clothing, etc. I think that it's well done. I think it's an iterative step towards something greater. I certainly hope the developer goes through and continues with this. We'll see how that goes. Maybe their next project will be a lot more grounded. But let's take a look here. I want to show you something. So it says here, follow his path. And over 30 miracles. That's great. But again, one last time, we need to see the in-between, the build-up, the character development of the people he interacts with, the relational aspect of it. Otherwise, I don't think that it'll really hammer home. Save souls and lives. I don't really care for this idea, like Left Behind, this Left Behind series for PC back in the day. Kind of this black and white, you're saved and you're not. I think even if you heal somebody with your healing power, you know, I would personally be completely transformed, as many people were. But you also see people who came in direct contact with him, like Nicodemus, and did not kind of immediately be transformed. They weren't immediately transformed, excuse me. Um, and what if you run out of miracle juice? I'm calling it miracle juice because that's all I know how to call it. This miracle juice bar on the right side. What if you run out of that in the middle of a miracle? How do you know you have enough for it? And how is the developer managing that to make sure that you can perform the miracle when needed? Because God's timing is perfect, and I doubt, these things story-wise should be held up by you needing to go get more miracle juice in the moment, especially if you're not in a place where you can get away and pray. And what does that prayer in between look like, right? Is it a mini game? Are you actually? I love to see some mini games where you rest and reflect. I'm working on a few of those things for my game. I think it's really powerful, this idea of combat all the time, all this fighting and such, and all these actions to be counterbalanced by this idea of rest and reflection, and gamifying that in some way, in a way that's interesting or fun. I know this is like 2021 years late, but this is spoilers here. We know the ending of the game. That's kind of interesting, right? Like, how do you deal with that in a game about the Bible and specifically about Jesus? I think that not putting the ending here is fine. I think that's better. People are going to be playing this for the experience anyway, but I wonder how much of the journey in between will be new and refreshing, or how much of it will just be going through the paces, right? And if it goes through the paces, are they going to do it in a way that is just kind of cheesy and crampy, or campy, excuse me? I certainly hope not. But lastly, I want to kind of take a look at this this and much more section. I noticed this in the trailer a few times. It looks like you're filling out a scrapbook, and this page of the Bible is just blank, and you're filling it in with a Polaroid photo with a scripture on it. I think that that's interesting. I don't know necessarily how many pages of the Bible we're going to fill up. Probably 30 separate events, 30 separate miracles. I don't really know how I feel about this being so paint by numbers, but I don't know. Anyway, those are my thoughts, guys. I hope you guys liked it. I'm working on my information delivery. Forgive me for the ums and ahs and the filler words. I'll try to get better at that. But if you found this valuable and you kind of agree with some of the things I said, go ahead and give this video a like and give it a thumbs up this way because the screen share. And go ahead and subscribe. I'm going to try to put out more content like this, but I will still be bringing you the regularly scheduled content on the Christian walk and what it means to be a Christian artist. I think this heavily ties in, right? If we're going to create art for God and from God, what does that look like? I think that we should be taking a peek at situations like this where we're truly analyzing the art that's already out there, learning from it. What can we learn that's good? What can we learn from it that are perhaps mistakes or just kind of growing pains in this process? As I said, Christian hip hop has done this for like the past 2 decades. We need to start getting on it as video game developers. So that's it. I love you guys and take it easy. Bye now.